Hello guys, and welcome back to the Novice Lumberjack. This is my Husqvarna 562 XP Mark 1, and this is the most current version of the Mark 1 aside from one difference, and that is this one still made it in and did not get a dished piston. Aside from that, it's got all of the updates and everything, but right there at the very end of the Mark 1, they started putting a dished piston in these, and this one does not have that. It has been ported by JBH Performance Saws. If you have never heard of them or don't know of them, there's a reason for that, and that is he doesn't do a lot of work for people, and he doesn't want to be found really. He only ports for people that he knows personally and people in his area and stuff. He is the guy that has been feeding me a lot of info on these 5 series saws. So he ported this one up for me to run in the 60cc challenge that I've got coming up, and we're going to go ahead and fire it up and run it for the first time. I've already fired it up. It's slightly warmed up, and so now we just got to get it tuned in and start doing some cuts. My logs are getting small, and so in this video I'll be cutting them down to size so I can throw them over the fence. But I'll actually I won't get time cuts, but I'll get what is pulling RPM wise, as long as my tack will read this. I think, if memory serves, my tack wouldn't read the Mark 1. It read the Mark 2, but it wouldn't read the Mark 1. So without further ado, let's see what she's got. Slow tune-in cut. Let's see if we can read the RPMs. He's better than me. That thing was turning the whole way through. 13.2, right? Yeah, I never saw that numbers with the Mark II. And I've suspected that I've got the timing off on the Mark II. So we'll have to go back into that. But yeah, that's the same RPMs that I've been getting from the Makita 6100. So yeah, it was 13.2, 13.3 all the way through. So now let's go ahead and dog it in a little bit and see, you know, what kind of torque it has. Let's see what the RPMs will turn in this slightly larger log. So she dropped down to 12,900 there, but it's a bigger log. There you go. You should expect that. Okay, thoughts on the saw. Whew, got these chips all over me. Oh, it's a nice breezy morning. I haven't had a morning this cool for at least a month. Yeah, it gets hot down here in Atlanta. Awesome, yeah. That's excellent. I would say that it probably is better than the one that I built, but it's really close. Seems like maybe it has a little bit more torque, and it definitely has a little bit more RPM. So mine in this cut right here on this bigger log, I was at 12.3, I believe. And this one got it at 12.9. That's 600 more RPM. That's substantial. And it feels like it has a little bit more torque as well. But this is going to be really close to that Makita 6100 that I built. Really close. It runs stellar. Wow. And you know, one thing that's also should be said, and he noticed it, you know, we talked about it, and he's like, this saw ain't got hardly any runtime on it. And I was like, yeah, I've been saying, you know, 10 to 15 tanks is what's been through it. But realistically, if you went from completely full to completely empty, it's probably closer to 8 to 10 tanks. And so I guess my point in saying that is that ring is nice and flattened out and seated and broken in. Whereas on the Mark II that I built, it doesn't even have a single tank through it yet. And that makes, okay, does it make a difference by feel? Probably not so much, you know. But on these newer saws, those rings are really hard. And they take a while to flatten out. And by flatten out, it's easiest whenever you talk about the Echo rings. Echo uses barrel-shaped rings, right, from the factory. So they're on the sides, they're rounded. You can look at them and see they protrude like my gut, you know. And so that's a great tool right there. That's a great tool. I'm going to explain it to you. So when they break in, that round belly gets flatter and flatter and flatter until finally you're perfectly matched to the cylinder itself. And the more perfect matching you have, the less loss of power you're going to have, and more compression. But the loss of power is the thing that I want to focus on, because whenever you're not making a good seal and your piston comes up to top dead center and explodes, a lot of that explosion goes past the rings, all right? You're not capturing it. Well, whenever your rings flatten off and create a perfect seal on, or as close to perfect as you can get, on the cylinder walls, then less of your power makes it around the rings and is wasted, right? So break in, whenever it comes to, I'm looking for every millisecond I can get, it makes a tremendous difference, because a saw that is fresh, like my Mark II 562, completely fresh, it's losing a lot of its power. And whenever that seats in, you might gain 5% power increase by having it seated in. Now, is that something that you're going to likely feel and notice? Maybe. I mean, basically the way I see it and have experienced it is I'm running a saw, and then like 2 days later or 2 weeks later, I run that exact same saw and I go, man, this thing is just running right, man. It's just running good. And it's nothing really more than that. But in a race type scenario, it shows up as winning the race. So, you know, but whenever they break in, you notice it in a manner that is usually akin to, damn, this thing's running good. Damn, this is really feeling great. You just hit your brake in, you know? That's it. It's not like you go, oh crap. No, it's really never like that. It's more like, man, this thing's just feeling great and running great. It really runs good. Now, some saws have a more specific and noticeable break-in than others. The Echoes are right there. That's, you know, whenever they break in, it usually, whoa, that's a difference, you know. But it happens gradually. You know, with the Echoes, it probably happens between tank number 6 and tank number 12. Gradually, you're going, hey man, this thing's running right, you know. But this thing, great job to my guy. They knocked it out of the park. That runs absolutely fantastic, and I love it. Now, what we got to do is we got to get back to my Mark II, and we got to dial in the timing, because I think I went a little bit too far, and that's why it's having awkward restarts, and it's having awkward, like once you do get it started, you can't immediately trigger it, right? Because it'll fall on its face and die. You got to get some heat built up. So I think that's what's going on with my Mark II. The only thing that we can do is mess around with it and try. So anyways, excellent job. Thanks again to my guy. And yeah, if the way things are right now, I think this one is better than the Mark II that I built. But that's why I'm not, I mean, whenever I do the 60cc challenge, you will see, absolutely, you will see which saws are the fastest. And if that's all that matters to you, then you'll have that data. But instead of comparing them against each other, I'm just saying, is this saw capable of producing 70cc power? That's a much more reasonable goal, because we've got different people building a bunch of these different saws. I'm building, I think 2 or 3 or maybe 4 of them. And the rest of them have been built by other people. Like my Poland 3750, that was built by Dino Joe. Brennan Cass, he's gonna be building the 361 steel. Morgan McGinnis, he's gonna be building the 360 steel. Might be running a 262 XP. If so, that's gonna be the one built by Sean Carr. And I'm sure I'm probably forgetting something. You know, this one was built by somebody else. So to measure them against each other to see which one produces more power is nonsensical, because different builders, you know, some of them clearly can make a more powerful saw than others. It's not about that. This is not a builder challenge. This is a saw challenge. And any one of the builders that are building these 60cc saws are capable of doing an excellent job, and therefore capable of producing 70cc power, if the saw is capable of producing it. Like a great one would be the Poland 3750. I don't know if that's capable of 70cc power or not. I don't know. But the guy who built it, Dino Joe, he's just as good as anybody. So you get what I'm saying here? But as far as this one goes, she's hot. And I love his muffler mod. Check that out. I hope you can see that. Straight up looks stock. Oh, nope, there's no filter in it. Or screen, I should say. But you could run a screen if you wanted to. Very clean and tidy. Really like it. Really like the saw. Oh, and for you guys who watch the channel, so the cool thing about that is I am not keeping that saw, right? But am I gonna sell a saw that just got ported to me by a guy that I actually really get on with? He's a friend. No, I wanna keep it. But honestly, I don't like the 562 Mark I. It feels big and heavy to me. Although now that it's producing that power, it doesn't feel so heavy. One of you guys mentioned that. There's nothing like making a saw feel lighter by giving it more power. And that is truth right there. So yeah, it doesn't feel nearly as heavy as it used to. but anyways, that piston and cylinder setup is going to go on my Jonsered 2258. I've got a full stuffer crank for it from a 560 XP that came from England. So I will eventually break my Jonsered 2258 apart, put a stuffer crank in it, and then put that piston and cylinder setup and carburetor setup and everything onto my 2258, right? That way my 2258 runs like that thing does, right? Yeah. But it's a 2258, which is endlessly cooler than a 562.